Dana Bash and Bibi Netanyahu got into a heated exchange over Gaza, and he really put her in her place.
To allow
Mr. Prime Minister, I want to talk.
So Dana Bash of CNN got into a heated exchange with Bibi Netanyahu over Gaza, and he put her in her place. Check it out.
To allow
Mr. Prime Minister, I want to
Israelis
talk about
and
why
Palestinians alike.
the sentiment has changed. I mean, obviously, there has been huge support and still is really big support here in the U.S. and most corners of the world for you doing what you are saying. Your strategic goal is to defeat Hamas and to make sure that that kind of terror attack doesn't happen again. But what is happening, and the reason why the world is shifting in public sentiment, is the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. Organizations call what they are seeing near famine in Gaza. So why won't you allow more food trucks to drive through the border crossings into Gaza to feed starving civilians while you continue to take out the terrorists in Hamas?
Well, our policy is to do exactly that. And in fact, we've enabled, our policy is to not to have famine, but to have the entry of humanitarian support as needed and as much as is needed. So we've created alternative routes, supply routes. We allow the dropping of the support from the air, humanitarian aid, a sea route that we've cooperated with, and it started yesterday, and alternative land routes that we're enabling again. The problem isn't getting the trucks in. The problem is that once they're getting in, they're looted by Hamas or looted by gangs. And what we're trying to do with some other powers is to try to get the aid to the actual civilians who need them and not looted by Hamas. That's really the problem.
Well,
in any case, that's our policy, and that's why I've enabled alternative routes of supply.
Okay. There's been a trickle, I mean, to be fair, of supply going in there. And every major NGO, outside organization involved with this crisis says that the level of hunger is life-threatening for hundreds of thousands. Cindy McCain, who the McCain family, they have been long supporters of Israel. She is now the executive director of the World Food Program. She said that hunger has reached catastrophic levels in northern Gaza. People are dying. Only a fraction of the food needed is trickling. To prevent an outright famine, they need significant increase in humanitarian aid now. Millions of lives are at stake. Will you do that? Will you commit to that?
Of course, and we're doing it. Again, I've authorized alternative routes of supply. And again, the problem is not the number of trucks going in, although we're increasing it on a daily basis. I think the problem is preventing the looting by Hamas and by others. And that's what we're working on now. I think it's a cooperative effort. Our policy is to enable humanitarian aid. That's been a constant element in our whole program. It's to destroy Hamas militarily, but also to supply the humanitarian aid simultaneously.
Though, sir, it's not
and the main
happening.
obstacle to that is actually Hamas.
It's not happening. Well, in the north, you said that you've destroyed Hamas. If Hamas isn't in the north, then how is Hamas taking away food? And if you open up more border crossings and give more food into the area, allow starving people to eat, the looting maybe would subside. That's human nature, no?
That's exactly what's happening, because we have increased the number of trucks entering the north. I think I'm up to date, and I know these numbers, and we know that there is an increase, but we also know that we have a job to do to prevent the looting, because at the end we bring in the trucks, including to the north, and then they're looted by remaining Hamas terrorists. We've destroyed the fighting formations of Hamas, the terrorist battalions, but there's still individual terrorists that we're mopping up.
And
these individual terrorists shoot the drivers, take over the goods, and try to give it to Hamas fighters, the remaining Hamas fighters. So it's an ongoing battle.
I understand
but
that.
It's something
but
that
you
we're committed
understand
to.
that it is the responsibility.
Destroying Hamas and giving humanitarian aid.
Forgive me. I understand that. Given the images that I'm sure you have seen, do you believe fundamentally that it is Israel's responsibility to make sure that those starving civilians, including those children, get food, and you're doing everything in your power to make sure that happens?
Categorically, yes. I think it's It's an effort that we're engaged in all the time. I think that Hamas is working on the opposite effort. One, to get people not to leave war zones. They want more civilian casualties. We want to minimize civilian casualties. And the second, they want to commandeer the humanitarian aid and bring it to their underground terror tunnels. And we want it to reach the Palestinian population. So the blame should be laid squarely at Hamas's door. And instead, I find it both cynical and wrong, just factually wrong, to try to place the blame on Israel, which is doing everything it can to minimize civilian casualties and to get to the humanitarian aid, and Hamas, which is doing the opposite. Instead of placing the blame on Hamas, we'll continue to do it regardless of the PR distortions.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there is no question that Hamas is a nefarious organization doing everything it can to undermine what's going on and to create chaos. But I guess the point is that you're not Hamas. Israel is a democracy and as a Jewish state supports and believes in every life mattering. And so I'm glad to hear that you say that you're going to do what you can to get those aid trucks in. And obviously we'll be watching. And I'm sure a lot of organizations are going to be.
Okay. This whole talk of like, oh, you're a democratic state, so now you have to feed the enemy. You literally have to feed the people that want to destroy you. Like, no. We're not a democratic Western state. Israel is not this, Western state that just appeases, terrorists and gives them food and feeds them. We don't have a responsibility to feed the same people of Gaza that elected Hamas, that praised October 7th as a celebration. I think that the amount of people that supported October 7th until recently was over 75%. In a recent poll, it's gone down to like 48%. Again, this is an old video, but the fact that Dana Bash, a Jew, on CNN is pressing the Israeli prime minister on giving aid to people that are sworn to Israel's destruction is just insanity in and of itself. For more, subscribe to this channel. If you want to help us make more of these videos, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/JewishUncensored. That's buymeacoffee.com/JewishUncensored.